The city had worn me down, its relentless noise, the weight of deadlines, the chaos of college life. I thought escaping to my childhood home for a few days would be a balm, a quiet retreat to recharge. But the moment I stepped through the door, the familiar scent of wood polish and my mother's floral air freshener hit me, stirring something deeper than nostalgia. It was like stepping into a photograph that had faded just enough to feel unfamiliar. My little brother, William, was no longer the scrawny kid I'd left behind. His voice carried a new weight, his eyes a quiet intensity that caught me off guard. "Look who finally decided to grace us," he said, barely looking up from his phone, but his glance lingered longer than his words. There was something in his gaze curiosity, maybe, or something heavier. I brushed it off, blaming the awkwardness of time spent apart. Dinner was a familiar ritual mom's chatter about neighbors, dad's distracted nods, William's sarcastic quips. But his eyes kept finding mine, flickering with an unspoken question. It wasn't just sibling banter anymore. It was a thread pulled tight, waiting to unravel. That night, in my old bedroom, surrounded by posters and books frozen in time, I felt at a restless unease, like the house itself was holding its breath. Over. The next few days, the tension grew, subtle but undeniable. William's presence was everywhere too close in the hallway, his shoulder brushing mine when there was room to spare. His voice, deeper now, carried a deliberate edge when he spoke my name. I told myself I was imagining it, that the quiet of home was amplifying nothing into something. But then came the night we were alone, mom and dad away for a weekend getaway. The house felt too big, too silent, the air thick with something I couldn't name. "You enjoying the silence?" William asked, dropping onto the couch beside me, closer than necessary. His shirt rode up slightly, revealing a sliver of skin, and I hated how my eyes lingered. I gripped the remote tighter, forcing my gaze to the TV. "Feels weird," I muttered. He hummed, stretching lazily, his arm brushing mine. "Guess we'll have to entertain ourselves." The words were innocent, but the way he said them wasn't. Later, in the kitchen, he appeared behind me, his footsteps soft but deliberate. "Just watching," he said when I asked what he was doing. His voice too casual, his eyes too sharp. He stepped closer, and when his shoulder nudged mine, I didn't move away. That was my first mistake. It escalated in the flicker of moments, a playful shove that wasn't just playful, a wrestling match that ended with me pinned beneath him on the couch. His breath was warm against my face, his hands gripping my wrists. Not hard, but firm enough to feel. The air stilled, heavy with everything we weren't saying. His eyes searched mine, and for the first time I saw it. He knew. And so did I. He let go, rolling off with a smirk, but the moment lingered, replaying in my head as I lay awake that night. The tension was unbearable, a pull I couldn't ignore. Alone in my room, I gave into it, letting my thoughts spiral where they shouldn't. The house was quiet, or so I thought. But then the door creaked, and there he was, William, leaning against the frame, his silhouette framed by the faint hallway light. "You look tense," he said, his voice low, a lazy smirk curling his lips. My stomach dropped. I tried to speak, to deny it, but the words wouldn't come. He stepped closer, his gaze unyielding. "I've heard you before," he said, casual but cutting. Many times the world tilted. My pulse thundered, shame and something else, something hotter twisting inside me. He wasn't leaving, wasn't looking away. "Don't stop on my account," he said, and then he was gone, leaving the door open and the air charged with. His words, he came back later, his presence heavier this time. "You didn't finish," he said, stepping inside, his voice steady, but laced with something raw. I froze, caught between denial and the truth screaming in my chest. "I could help," he offered, his eyes searching mine, daring me to cross the line we'd been skirting for days. "Don't," I managed, but my voice betrayed me, weak and unconvincing. He stepped closer, The space between us shrinking to nothing. You think I don't notice? He said, softer now. The way you react, the way you avoid me, like you're afraid of what might happen if you don't, my breath hitched. He was right. I'd known, maybe always had, that this wasn't just sibling tension. It was something else, something dangerous, something we couldn't undo. His fingers brushed mine, a spark in the dark, and the world slowed. Neither of us moved away. The air was electric, heavy with everything we'd avoided until a sharp noise from downstairs shattered the moment we froze, reality crashing in. William's breath was uneven, his body tense, but his eyes still held mine. For a moment, we were suspended, caught in the gravity of what we'd almost done. Then he stepped back and the spell broke. But the truth lingered, undeniable, a secret we'd both carry now, whether we wanted to or not.